we come up to the 18-month anniversary of when a lot of, I don't know if this is a global phenomenon, but a lot of Americans had to learn to make do without their comfort toilet paper, right? And a lot of other supplies. I'm not sure why toilet paper was so popular. Some of the other things made sense, right? The paper towels for cleaning, the antibacterial soap, the hand sanitizer, obviously, the alcohol, the peroxide, the bleach. That kind of made sense, right? Kind of funny about the bleach. I hoarded a bunch of electrodes and salt in order to make bleach because nobody thought about that, and so I wanted to have a ready supply. Okay, and also the commercial bleach has a lot of questionable chemicals that I wanted to avoid. Okay, let's get that out of the way. But it's kind of ironic that I ran into that. I mean, I didn't struggle too much with the toilet paper because I had already learned that lesson a few months before the toilet paper crisis. Don't get me wrong, I love toilet paper as much as anybody else. Given the choice of whether to have toilet paper available or not, yes, I would much rather be able to get access to toilet paper, right, given the choice. But I had already learned my lesson because a few months before, 6 months before the toilet paper crisis, I was already dealing with a shock in my life. I used to love this, or I still do, this natural candy bar called Larabar. I wouldn't say it's a candy bar, more like a nutritional bar. Okay. And I used to love this flavor that was chocolate with coconut and almond with no added sugar. I can't remember the ingredients. There were only 4 or 5 ingredients. Unsweetened dates, chocolate, almonds, coconut. I think just 4 ingredients, if I remember correctly. I used to eat boatloads of that stuff. Now, I went to the store one day, and they were sold out. I didn't think much of it. I mean, here we have 3, 4, 5 grocery stores all within walking distance. I love walking. We have a trail, and then there's several stores that it will connect to. And I go to the next store, they have like 2 bars. In the next store, and they have 1 bar. And it quickly dawned on me that these Larabar, this flavor is being discontinued. And I spent the next couple of weeks snapping them up around the town, and I realized they're gone. I went into a serious depression. When I mean serious depression, I'm talking about the kind of depression that could make you lose your job, relationship strife, problems with social interaction. I got evicted from one apartment. I can't say the fact that my favorite food was discontinued and that I cried over it didn't contribute to me getting evicted. It's kind of a long story. I won't go into those details. I got into an argument with my girlfriend. I don't know if it contributed to us breaking up, but I wanted to leave her place because I wanted to masturbate. I couldn't tell her that, obviously, but I was edgier and edgier to get out of her place, to go to my car and then drive a distance away so she doesn't see me doing it and just masturbate. And so got very roughed up as a result of being edgy. And we broke up at the beginning of the quarantine because we couldn't safely see each other. She lives with elderly family members. I had job problems. It's a huge. I had a conference in Macau that same year, and I didn't like Macau as it was. The fact that my favorite Larabar was gone didn't help. I developed major binge eating problems. Actually, ironically, I just found a video where I was binge eating another flavor of Larabar that I didn't nearly like as much. I was looking up if I had ever talked about this concept. I've kind of kept it in the closet until now because it's not a very pleasant chapter in my life. I got evicted from one place. I almost lost my job. Problems with my girlfriend. Problems with my family. And so on New Year's Day 2020, I made a resolution to normalize my relationship with food. It had really gotten out of hand. But there are two lessons to learn from this, actually. The number one is, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Right? You can go out to the store and see that they always seem to have 20, 30, 40 Larabars. You can think about how you'll have 10 every week for the rest of your life. You can think that, right? But unless the stash is at your home, right, or you don't own it, right? You can think that the store always has them. Okay, well, if it applies to Larabars, it probably applies to this other kind of bar that you might be thinking of holding, right? If you hold an IOU for them, right, or you hold shares of companies that produce them, and you don't hold them in your hand, you don't own them, right? Anything could happen to them. Anyways, that's a lesson that I got. Some reinforcement. I've always known it, but it got some reinforcement. Now, don't forget, it's not just specifically Larabars. It could be food in general, right? If you don't hold it or know the means to acquire it, you're at the mercy of the rest of the system working correctly, right? So I hope to reduce my dependence on commercial food. I used to eat a lot of roadkill, and I used to find a lot of plants that are edible, but I've never grown any food, and that makes me a little bit uncomfortable. When I think back to Larabars, Larabar was only a very specific comfort food, but the same concept, right? I try not to get attached to any processed foods anymore. I really learned the hard way how much drama it created in my life. Granted, the drama wasn't that long, and it was quickly overshadowed by other things that were in short supply. I'm glad I made the resolution in early 2020. I took the toilet paper in stride. I really did, because of what happened with Larabar. I really did. I remember the first day of quarantine, my mom was calling me, worried about if I had toilet paper. Oh, I remember. The first day of quarantine, I also couldn't find my favorite kielbasa sausage, and I was in a mess. But I quickly snapped out of it. I didn't lose a job, lose an apartment, lose a girlfriend over it. I quickly snapped out of it. So in the space of 6 months, I took my lesson. And yeah, I did look for it in a couple stores. What's really sad is that that brand of sausage, they still make them, but now they have added sugars. And I don't want to have added sugars. So, but I took it in stride that maybe it's time to try other foods. And I have tried other foods. I think what the reason they keep changing these ingredients is that they know some people are going to give it up entirely. And when people change foods, it's a lot easier to raise the price on all the foods, right? I think that's my theory. May sound a little bit conspiracy-like, but that's my theory. When you add something to where you change the ingredients, there's going to be a percentage of people who give it up, right? And it makes it easier to change the price. Anyway, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. The second thing I would say is that unless you control something, try not to get too attached to it. Don't get too attached to your partner, to even your family members. Don't get too attached to anything you can find at the store, your favorite TV show, right? If you have a favorite YouTube channel, don't get attached to watching me. Something could happen to me, right? You're setting yourself up for disappointment anytime you get attached to anything in the world, whether it be toilet paper, your favorite foods, your favorite YouTube creator, right? I would hope that when something happens to me, I don't leave behind a bunch of people who are disappointed, right? I would hope not, right? Thanks for watching.